welcome back to the Skid Factory. Today we're checking out Denny's twin-turbo 6-cylinder Subaru wagon. Twins, Basil! This nondescript looking station wagon is a 2006 Subaru Liberty, or Legacy everywhere else in the world but Australia. It's a 6-cylinder engine and automatic, 4-wheel drive as they all are. It doesn't look like much, and it isn't really much to be honest. It's owned by my mate Danny. It's his family car. He picks his kids up and takes them to school and all that sort of crap. It's got a couple of semi-shiny pipes because we haven't painted them yet in the engine bay.
Are you going to paint them?
Oh, Danny's going to paint them. You know I don't paint. Doesn't look like a lot going on, and that's because all that is going on is hidden underneath. This is a bit of an experiment that Danny and I decided that we needed to do after he bought the car. Actually, I think he might have bought the car so we could do it. I can't really remember. But Danny is a pattern maker. He makes casting patterns to cast manifolds, anything.
We did a video on it already.
We've done a video on it, but we're not sure whether you've seen it or not yet. So he likes cars, he likes to play, and he likes doing stupid, different things, just like me. So when we team up, it tends to be this sort of result. So he's used his skills to make some exhaust manifolds, some cast exhaust manifolds for this particular engine, and I've used my skills to convince him that it was a good idea, and Woody knows I'm good at that. So there's really nothing to see up here. Just the engine is standard, apart from the fact that it had blown head gaskets when he bought it, which they pretty much all do. So I pulled it apart for him and fixed the head gaskets. While we had it apart, we decided, we knew we were going to turbo it, but he didn't want to run it on E85, which most of these will do if they're turboed because they're quite high compression. So we pulled the pistons out and gave them to Danny's brother-in-law John, who is our mate that helps us with engine building things, and he measured them all up and decided that the piston crown was pretty thick, and he made a special jig to hold the piston via the pin and some other things, and put it in a lathe and took off I think it was about 1 mil off the top of the piston crown to reduce the compression ratio so it would hopefully run happily on 98 with boost. I'd never done one of these on 98 before. They always just put them on the 85 because they're 10.7 to 1 compression. But it's the first time for everything, so let's have a look underneath and see what all the fuss is about. Getting a bit busier under here. This is where all the stuff is. So the concept behind this was, as you've probably seen from other Subarus that we've done, I think we had another silver Subaru station wagon that with a 500 kilowatt 4-cylinder in it that had a turbo underneath it. I've kind of had this bit of an obsession with this over the years, ever since Subaru did it themselves, so it wasn't my idea, it was theirs. They obviously knew that it's a shit idea to have exhaust manifolds that are like this long before the turbo, and it's better to hang them straight off the exhaust port, which on a Subaru engine, because flat and WW is down the bottom. So we made manifolds to allow these turbos, which are R34 GTR, to fit straight on the exhaust ports via a little joiner. I originally bought these turbos ages ago when they came up in Marketplace because that's what I do. They were pretty cheap.
At least you bought them and didn't make someone else buy them though.
No, not this time.
Well, hang on, didn't Ethel deliver them?
No, they delivered them to Ethel. It was Ben Moore.
Oh yeah.
So the reason I chose specifically R30, like GTR turbos, is because they are a GT25 like Sylvia's blah blah blah, but the exhaust housing and everything is actually compressed into a smaller size, even though they will flow similar amounts of air through them. They've gone out of their way to make them compact because of how busy the side of an RB26 is, just to make it all fit. So there's some significant changes going on there just to make them small, basically. So that's why I wanted to use them, because obviously space is a premium underneath the engine because the ground is there as well. So we basically just pulled them all apart. They are ball bearing units. They're only tiny little things, 0.48 housings, I think. So they're nothing. They're not off a special RB26 or anything. They're just the stockers. We had to make custom bracketry for the wastegates and that sort of thing. None of that fitted, and welded things on, made new intake pipes, just the usual stuff that we do. That all sort of fits pretty well. It's a bit crowded, but that's okay. These are the sumps for the turbos. That was a pain in the butt. We had nothing but trouble getting the oil scavenge system to work. I've done this many, many times on a few different cars, plus my own turbo kit that I designed for the 86s, using the same pump, the same sump design, everything's the same, but because there's two of them, it didn't work properly, and we had to battle our way through that, including filling up the exhaust system with oil once, thanks to the cameraman who shall remain nameless.
Don't blame it on me. Why do you blame it on me?
You were in the car when it happened. Anyway, so we had a few goes at that, and it's an issue with low mount turbos. It is it's probably the biggest thing that you've got to deal with low mounts, is getting the oil out of them and back into the engine without putting it through the exhaust system and intake pipes. These particular sumps are going to be replaced. They do work, but they're reducing the ground clearance. So we've redesigned them, and Denny's getting a new set cast. This is just a cast block, very simple for him to make, very difficult to fabricate. So we're going to replace those purely because they're the lowest point. We've got a new design that's a little bit more slimline.
There is a bash plate that sits.
Yeah, I've got a bash plate that we've taken off, obviously. That's the first thing that they probably already said it on the comment section, because when you're watching a show, you don't wait until the end and comment. You comment straight away. That's how you do it. Yeah. Don't wait for the information, just comment. So yes, it has a bash plate. The bash plate is lower than it would have normally been, but it's still within reason. And if you want to have two turbos underneath your H6, then you've got to make some compromises. We've driven it. It's got a very rough tune in it, just loaded up by Miles via Tony. My mate is a tuner, and it does drive pretty nice. It's an auto though, so that's another variable that we've had to deal with, because I've never done an auto, and they've got a mind of their own and a computer of their own that also talks to the other computer, and in between that they tie themselves in a knot and the car doesn't run properly or move properly. So that's another thing to sort out. H6 with a 6-speed manual, no problem at all. You just put a new clutch in it and dump the clutch at 6,000 RPM and you're sweet. So it's a family car, so it's auto. All the water lines and everything were a little bit complicated. There's when you put two turbos on anything, you just double the messing around. That's just how it is. Sort of went a bit overboard and put like Teflon lines on everything, which I probably shouldn't have. But it probably doesn't even need them, but it is what it is. They're on there now. Twin 2.5-inch exhaust into a single 3-inch, just generic catback, off a GT, like a turbo 4-cylinder. Does the job. A couple of air filters up there. Makes some crazy noises, choo-chooing noises. Each turbo does its own thing and makes some funny sounds, which is also cool. It's pretty much why you have a turbo car, isn't it? Just for the noise. Other than that, it's just a Liberty.
Just a Liberty.
It just looks like nothing when it's on the ground, but it does go. It goes reasonably well as it is, but we'll work on it.
Would you prefer a 6-cylinder or a 4-cylinder personally?
These engines are way better than EJ engines. I don't know.
Real?
I do not know why people don't do more with them. Probably because there's no catalogue full of EZ parts and there's a catalogue full of EJ parts. That's how the aftermarket works. We've got another version of this on the boil, but I won't talk about that yet. This is the budget version. This is for the guy that's got a $2,000 H6 and likes to play. You grab a set of these manifolds, grab a set of second-hand GTR turbos, do it yourself. It's a DIY thing. That was the concept behind it anyway. So
can someone buy these manifolds from you, Alan?
they can't buy them from me, but they can buy them from Denny if they want them. But I think we'll wait until we've proved that everything works. Like, yes, it runs and drives and sucks the oil out, except when Woody's driving it, and does all those things, but we haven't sort of run it through its paces properly yet. I'm pretty happy with it, from going from an idea inside my brain to something that's on the car. It's a pretty good thing. A bit more clearance would have been nice, but that's Subaru life for you. And it doesn't make silly dub-dub noises, so it's heaps better than a EJ.
It does sound really good. Let's fire it up.
All right. Should I put the bash plate on first?
Well, do you want it?
Not really. Decision making. Listen to all the pumps. Hear that sound? That's not dub-dub sound.
Sounds really good, eh? Giggling like a schoolgirl.
All the turbos.
It's cool because you hear it go from one side to the other. I wonder if the microphone picks that up.
Hopefully. That's all we got for Denny's Liberty. We'll see if we can find someone to tune the engine and transmission computers and try and make it work properly.
How much power would you expect to see out of one of these?
I'm not expecting to see much out of this one, maybe 200 kilowatts.
Still bloody stout.
Just driving it now, it's just monstrously torquey. It's like driving a 1JZ auto, you know, just nice and smooth. Much better than an EJ. We'll keep you up to date on our socials. It'll either be a picture of a rod hanging out the top of the block or just victorious dyno numbers, one or the other. Thanks for watching.